like a locket. Carve your name in my mind, 'cause you caught it. You caught it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Meet under the streetlight at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Meet under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. Golden.
Hallo liebe Rennsportfreunde, herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Ausgabe meines Talkformates Armani Talk. Schön, dass ihr eingeschaltet habt. Die letzte Ausgabe war ja mit unserem italienischen Freund dem Pierluigi Veronesi gewesen. Und ja, es hat sich ja eine längere Zeit sich ein bisschen Sorgen gemacht um mir. Es war lange Zeit still geworden um dieses Format geworden. Um mich natürlich auch etwas geworden. Nichtsdestotrotz freut es mich, dass wir heute einen weiteren Gesprächspartner haben und ja, in Zukunft werden die Ausgaben ja am Donnerstag jede Woche zu sehen sein. Heute ist es ja eine Ausnahme, heute ist ja Mittwoch, aber ihr seht das Video erst nächste Woche Donnerstag. Und ja, ich hatte ja wie ihr wisst, vor 3 Wochen Corona, aber jetzt geht es mittlerweile mir doch wieder besser und die Saison der Nascar Wheel steht ja auch in wenigen Wochen kurz bevor. Ja, heute habe ich einen entsprechenden Gast und zum Auftakt des neuen Jahres begrüße ich den guten Gordon Barnes von Marko Stipp aus Großbritannien und freue mich sehr, dass er sich die Zeit genommen hat, meine Fragen zu stellen. Good evening, Gordon.
Oh, how you doing?
Gordon, thank you very much for accepting my interview invitation. And first of all, congratulations again on your title on the Nascar Club Challenge. How does it feel for you and to have to run this title?
Yeah, at the time it was just amazing. I didn't really believe I'd done it until they actually handed me the trophy. And yeah, to have been going so strong all year and finally actually secure the championship was such a great feeling.
The season won beginnings on the May on Valencia Ricardo Tormo. What are your goals for this season and what are you most looking forward to in Valencia?
I think the main thing is just to do what we did last year. If we do that, if we stay consistent, we should be in a good position to do it 2 in a row.
You also mentioned that you train very often. How often do you train for your physical fitness?
The plan is to be in the gym 3 times a week, which since the corona restrictions have been lifted, it's been a lot easier to achieve that. So yeah, I'm in there 3 times a week. I have a fitness goal for the year that's progressing, that's going well. I feel in better shape. I'm definitely in better shape this year than I was last year.
Do you also follow another racing series, possibly also another types of sports with NASCAR in American or IndyCar or Formula 1 or Formula E?
I follow the series through things like social media and stuff. Problem I have at the moment is it's hard to catch some of these things live because so much is either behind a paywall or just not available. So all the Formula One's now behind a paywall. IndyCar hasn't had a streaming offering in Europe for a couple of years now, so you pick up and you catch up these things often on highlights or replays when you can.
You also mentioned that you can speak a little bit of German pretty well. Is it difficult for you, or do you speak more English or other languages with your team management?
We spend to speak English. Not everybody in the team is actually German. So like the race engineer was Spanish, so he doesn't speak any German. So when you communicate with him, it's just done in English. And I think international motor racing, the most common language there across the board is English.
How do you look for you on the Valencia track? What is for you the Valencia Ricardo Thomas circuit for you?
I think from a start again. I find with the circuit from a spectator point of view, it's like it's been built in a natural bowl. So no matter where you are, you can see nearly all of the circuit. So I think it gives a very good spectator experience. From a driver experience, yeah, there's a nice flow to it. There's a mix of there's some fast and slow corners. There's a few elevation changes, and especially that final corner, which is you go over the rise on that fast back straight, and then you've got a downhill braking and turn into that final corner. So it really puts a bit of a challenge on the driver to really be able to nail that corner well.
The last corner is very, very difficult for the intermediate section 3, but he's a good overtake zone.
And especially onto the you've got the long front straight as well.
Yeah,
so
yes. On the first and second turn.
Yeah, but I said because you've got like that downhill braking zone and it's still slightly off camber as you turn in, that's where the challenge comes from a driver. So the drivers that can nail that corner will do the best down the main straight.
Another question for you: do you are summer type or winter type?
Probably more summer than winter. Everybody just seems happier when it's summer. So,
what are your favorite tracks in the NASCAR wheel in your series? How do you miss this season again with the Hockenheim cancelled with this year? Do you miss it with the season opening with the Hockenheim?
Yes, in the sense that it's it's the nearest track to where I live, so it's would be the easiest one to get to. Some of the other tracks are a bit further afield, a bit harder for travel wise. But yeah, I mean, Hockenheim cancelled again. I'm not too sure why that happened. So I think we're basically on the same tracks as we had last year. So Valencia, Vallelonga, Most,
Brands Hatch, Zolder.
Yeah, Brands Hatch, Zolder, and Grobnik.
How would you describe yourself as a guy, Gordon?
Awesome. I have a particular sense of humor that, if people don't understand my sense of humor, they find me a little bit puzzling. Other people, if you're on the same wavelength with my humor, then we can be fun.
On which social networks are you often active? Are you not the type? How would you like to be in the spotlight with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, or another medias?
I'm most often active on Twitter and Instagram. Both of those is the same. It's just Gordon J Barnes.
Under the description.
Sorry?
Under the description with my subscribers.
Yeah, so it's just
where you find us.
J Barnes on both Twitter and Instagram. So that side of things, it's easier. Slightly different content on each one. So Twitter tends to be more sort of informal, chatty, just me putting my general day-to-day thoughts up there as well. And Instagram, obviously, it's a far more visual medium. And I started trying to put a bit more video on there as well. So, try to get the summaries from race events. We put those up there as video. But Twitter just for the more general day-to-day, it's more conversational.
If you had to read one headline about yourself, Gordon, what would it be for you?
Probably just the word champion. I'll stick with that.
This was a good answer for you, no?
Oh, yeah.
This was pretty easily.
Yeah, but it's always a good feeling. It's always, yeah.
So, my next question for you, how often do you communicate with your team about aerodynamic setups and other matters?
I don't communicate, or we don't discuss it a lot. For the club challenge, there's more of an emphasis on driver and being consistent, just being able to hit your marks lap after lap after lap. When it comes to the car setup, that's more important for the guys running in like the pro category. So we tend to defer to how they're feeling with the car. They're the guys that need to be really pushing and really be on the limit. For us, we get a bit more leeway. So as long as the car is stable and running well, we can work with that.
Okay. My next question for you is, do you also have phases where you say, now it's enough for me, where you also show your whole emotion?
You can probably ask my spotter and he'll tell you a different story to what I do. And he finds he complained that I tend to shout and swear a bit too much on the radio, just in the general day-to-day things. But I myself seem to be far more relaxed, happier after the event. During the event, yeah, I'm a different person.
Okay. My next question for you is, where would you like to travel to and why? Is it American or your home country with Great Britain?
Well, yeah, I'm planning to be back in the UK for Easter, just spend some time with the family. February, I was in the US. We were there to see the opening, the Daytona 500. So yeah, we were there for the first Daytona for the new next-gen stock car. I travelled a bit around Europe quite a bit for racing, for holiday, for work. I think if I had to pick somewhere to go, I'd probably be interested in going somewhere like the Far East for a holiday. More because that's going to be a very different culture to like a European or English or the Anglophile world. So, you know, the US is a bit different to the UK, but there's similarities. Likewise, as you travel around Europe, it's still Europe. So, yeah, I think going to Japan, you're going to somewhere like that, or China, you're going to get a very different culture to what we have over in the West.
You are another Spectre answer. Do you personally reckon that we will see Spectre again over time, also during the Omicron wave, or do you think it's not so possible this year?
I don't know. I'm not a virologist, so I don't know what's going to happen. I just feel that a lot of people have, for right or wrong, have just kind of got bored with it. You know, I think the current strain is showing it's a much milder infection, and especially for people who are vaccinated and boosted, they seem to be shrugging it off quite well. So I think a lot of people's attitude is basically, we're bored, let's have the next thing.
Do you missing the autograph sessions?
I think yeah, it's going to be it'll be better when they're back. You know, it gives the audience, the spectators, the fans more of a hands-on, more of a it brings them closer to the drivers and the teams. Yeah, it's going to be good that if we have those back this year.
You follow Formula One. What is your favorite track besides Silverstone? Is it Hungarian, or is it Belgium, or another racing track?
I don't really. I mean, I think with Formula One that there's a few circuits in Europe. I mean, especially the previous layout for Silverstone, I think, was better than the current one. Monaco's always been that sort of love-hate thing. That one, you know, every 10 years you get a race that's absolutely unbelievable at Monaco. The rest of the time it's just a bit dull. But the problem I find is that so many of the newer tracks are just so
Saudi Arabian or
they're just devoid of character. Yeah, I mean, I've not seen the Saudi Arabian since it's been behind, because it's all been behind the paywall. So I get that one's just a very fast and dangerous track. But a lot of these other newer tracks, they just don't have the character of some of the older ones. They're just too artificial.
It's not so complicated with the aerodynamics. But so you can going on the pits straight, and you have a chance on the fuel, you can change the tires. Is it right?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
So, but you can for 10 years ago, 20 2009, and having a chance, you come in the pits, you can change on the tires and the new fresh tires, or somebody tires, or you can change not the tires, but you can change the fuel. That was the answer for me, for you.
Right.
For the traditional times.
I think, yeah, but I think when they first brought refueling in, there were still a lot of questions over the best strategy approaches.
Yes.
And it played into the hands of certain drivers. So the drivers like Michael Schumacher, who could just put in very, fast lap after fast lap after fast lap without making errors, it really played into his strengths. When they got rid of refueling, it became more of a tyre management. So drivers that were smoother and easier on their tyres had the advantage. And I think there's always been this element in Formula One that as the rules change and evolve, some years it suits certain drivers better than others. And I think we saw that when Schumacher made his return, that having moved away from the era of a Grand Prix being 3 fast sprints between fuel stops, going to this tyre management era, he wasn't as strong as he had been back in the 2000s.
From your point of view, what does one have to bring to have a chance to drive in the Nascar Wheel in your series?
I don't think there's anything specific you need to bring. If you look at the grid, there's quite a large variety of drivers on there. So you've got some experience, you've got some veteran drivers, like Alan Day's been in the series for a number of years and is always at the front. You've got up and coming drivers, you've got new drivers coming in. So it's good for the youngsters, for the drivers trying to start at the start of their career. So like Paul Giffrew's coming in from the Club Challenge this year into EN2. You've got veteran drivers who've been around for quite some time. So Michael Bleekemolen, he's in his 70s and he's still going in the series. So I don't think there's anything special or specific any driver needs to bring to the Wheel and Euro NASCAR series. Every driver has a place on the grid. Anyone can come into the series. I think that's one of the strengths of it.
Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton fought for this title last season. We have 3 races. The next races is in San Marino and Imola, in Bologna, in Italian. What do you think is you personally review on them? Do you see Ferrari has a good job these 3 races, or do you think Max comes back on the European racetracks?
We've only had 3 races out of 22 or something this year to expect, so there's still a lot of the season to go. And I can't see how at this level of the sport, the likes of Red Bull or even Mercedes are going to start resting on their laurels or writing the season off. So, I mean, yeah, Charles Leclerc's had a very strong start to the season. He's got a quite a handy amount of points over Max Verstappen and the other drivers. But there's still so far to go. There's nothing that says that Red Bull will fix their reliability problems, or even if Mercedes will fix the problems with their car. I think it's too early to start nominating any driver as champion-elect.
From your point of view, describe your team leader, Marko. How did the contract come about, and have you been in contact for a long time, or was it more of a condensed? Sorry.
Well, the first contact was when the pandemic hit and everybody switched to esports. Marko was looking for drivers for his team for the esports. So I was contacted initially to do that, and then just stayed with the team to do the club challenge afterwards. And yeah, I mean, we had a successful year last year.
And you won this title.
Yes, I mean, there's not much more we could have done last year. We had a successful. It's been a very successful pairing. I can't see any reason why we would disrupt it or change it.
Do you have had the chance with talk with the last champion, with the Nascar Wheel Club champion, with Alain Moscouin?
Yeah, he came to one of the events last year. I spoke to him. He's a very approachable, friendly guy. So I spoke with him last year the year before, when he was still in the club challenge. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other thing about the club challenge is that it's quite although it's competitive, it's also a fairly relaxed environment as well. So as you compete by yourself, not directly against the other people on the track, it tends to be a lot friendlier. So everybody talks to everybody within the paddock. So yeah, I mean, I've spoken to Alan, and even last year, you'd chat with Federico, with Paul, with Nicola Gabozzi, whoever was, everybody.
You've been living in Germany for a while, but why?
Mm-hmm.
But why did you choose Munich?
I was working here on a contract when the music stopped from Brexit. So yeah, and then I've pretty much stayed in Munich ever since. Largely because I'm not sure how I would describe it. It's I mean, Munich is a beautiful city. It's a great place to be and live. It's perhaps
good German eat with the Bavarian food. With a good Bavarian food.
I think this is the thing that a number of times I can tell. Munich is Bavaria, not Germany.
But do you like it? Food?
Oh,
Bavarian food?
Yeah.
With the Bratwurst or Weißwurst?
I've not really done Bavarian breakfast, so I don't really do beer and Weißwurst for breakfast.
But either was it bacon or another thing, or?
It's a lot.
Oh! That was a plan. Who gives you the support you need when things aren't going so well according to plan?
A lot of that comes from family. So, my family have been supportive of me. I got a couple of other good friends in motor racing. So, when after you had a bad day, they're there to help pick you up. So, my friend Paul's we've been racing against each other for a number of years as well. So when one of us is having a bad time, the other one picks them up. Yeah, it's just having a good group of friends and family.
My last question for you, Gordon, is what are your plans for the next few years?
I don't know if I have any particular plans. There's some goals, some things I would definitely like to achieve. And yeah, I would like to race in one of the higher categories in the Euro Series. That's definitely on there. I'd like to race late models in the US, just to really experience them in the US environment as opposed to Europe. I keep telling myself one day I'm going to drive on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I mean, while I'm in Germany, I just haven't yet done it. I need to do it someday.
It's very historic track, Nürburgring Nordschleife.
Oh, definitely, there's a lot of history there, and also it's still regarded as one of the ultimate driver's experiences. In terms of there's a few great driving roads scattered around Europe, whether you talk about the Stelvio Pass or the Transferagassen. But as for racetracks, there's the Nordschleife. The question is, do you do it on a public day or do you do it on a track day with a race car?
Okay. Das war das Gespräch mit dem guten Gordon Barnes von Marko Stipp Motorsport. Thank you so much, Gordon, for your time, and best regards and best healthy greetings for you, and stay healthy and stay positive, and maybe we will see, maybe in Solder.
Yep, hopefully.
And then we drink a little bit of cappuccino. We will see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gordon. Das war das Gespräch.
Welcome.
Das war das große Gespräch mit Gordon Barnes. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Unten in der Videobeschreibung könnt ihr gerne auf seine sozialen Netzwerke schauen. Schaut auf jeden Fall mal rein. Lasst ihm auch ein Follow da. Und ja, ich bedanke mich, wünsche euch noch einen schönen Tag und have a great time and see you next time on Armani Talk. Bye bye.